Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harakal Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders who went most on it rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing this work in sincerity and truth to hopeful elect, pushing this word out to the four corners. Got this article on MSN by way of the Washington Post about the so-called freedom convoy protests that's going on in what the fuck is this country called, in Canada, because it's funny, that's kind of just been in the background, just constantly going. It's kind of become one of those similar to France with like the yellow vest protests, where them guys were just out there for so long that shit just became like that became like background noise. Them guys were expected to be out, going buck wild every Saturday. So this is what Ottawa declares state of emergency amid continuing blockades and raucous protests over sea measures. Yeah. So it says Ottawa announced a state of emergency Sunday after hundreds and sometimes thousands of protesters, many in big red trucks, disrupted the capital city for the second weekend in a row. Declaring a state of emergency reflects the serious danger and threat to the safety and security of residents posed by the ongoing demonstrations, and highlights the need for support from other jurisdictions and levels of government, Mayor Jim Watson said in a late afternoon announcement. The statement said that declaring the state of emergency would provide the city with greater flexibility. Early in the day, Watson pleaded for help, saying authorities were outnumbered and are losing this battle. Yeah, they've basically been saying, these guys have been harassing, the people in that city. And it's more or less the kind of like, it sounds like a lot of the politicians are basically just saying like, yo, the police just need to go in there and crack skulls. But we'll see. It says, losing battle, So it said the city's police department also warned Sunday that anyone attempting to bring material support to the trucks, including gasoline, would be subject to arrest. Throughout the protest, people can be seen lugging cans of gas to keep the blockade trucks' engines running, which is kind of hilarious. Man says you can just get straight up arrested for giving a nigga some gasoline and a sandwich. But yeah. Says his protests over the sea public health measures Saturday and Sunday included the large-scale road blockades, shooting off fireworks, driving on sidewalks, high decibel, non-stop horn honking by truckers, and what the Ottawa Police Department called other forms of extremely disruptive and unlawful behaviour. We continue to advise demonstrators not to enter Ottawa and to go home, the department said in a statement. Demonstrations in solidarity with a self-described freedom convoy also broke out during the weekends in other cities across Canada, including Toronto, Quebec City, and Vancouver. And they were trying to make it, there was people online trying to make it international, trying to do it in the EU as well. They said they wanted to link up all around different parts of the EU and go to Brussels. I think Australia as well, because it's basically the places that have got the strictest restrictions. Because more or less these guys are trying to get the passport, the max passport, removed. That's what I've heard. Their objective is. That's the main thing. Main thing they're asking for. But that's why it's just as these guys are getting demonized, or it's basically going to be any form of resistance or dissidence against the the status quo. They're just going to get further and further demonized, and that's why they're kind of making it a thing where it's like, look, these guys are just a raucous bunch of rabble out there making trouble. Because why? It's basically just lumping everyone that resists against the mandates. Then they lump them in one group. They demonize them all. Then they can basically just apply any when they set a standard of the amount of force they can use in this situation. Then the next time someone tries to protest, same thing with during the lockdowns. When the lockdowns were on, there were people in the UK trying to protest. But people in the UK trying to protest, they basically said, nah, protesting is suspended because of the restrictions. Then it was just like, yo, they started arresting people. That's why it was even with the fuck is that chick's name, Sarah Everard, where all the women came together. They had to send the cops in, to suplex them into the earth and drop kick them to get back home. Because they set the standard, then they can just apply it in all assets, and they put it into law as well afterwards, so they can do further things against protesters. And that's kind of, it's gonna be, that's the thing, it's under, it wasn't even like a thing that was just okay during these measures. It was more powers just added on in general, and that's how Esau gets down. It'll seem like, oh, it's just just for this particular one moment in time, but it's about enduring through, and it's going to be continually applied in future. Let me read this. Daniel 8:25 says, "And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart." Yeah, that's basically what the all these legislation, all these bills being passed. That's how essentially those powers are being added on, to the point where it's a draconian system of law, that militarized law, where it's basically people's rights are going to be thrown in the bin. And that's really where they've pushed it to, and it has stayed there, because it's like really from in the States from 2001, when they brought in the what you call it act, the Patriot Act, and then it's like even over here they've had the Section 4A of the Public Order Act, where it's like they made it so vague as if you say anything that causes distress and alarm to someone, then you can be arrested under that. That means it's you could just say like fucking cream cheese, and if that person has a fucking PTSD for cream cheese, then you can get and they have a panic attack, then you can be thrown in jail. So that's like even over here is wild. So it says, "And by peace shall destroy many." Yeah, by peace destroy many. That's really what it says it's being done. Oh, so everything could be cool, so we can keep it clean and calm. We can go back to normal. Everything's gonna be chill. Then you realize afterwards, it's like, oh well, basically walked into the snare. Let me read a bit more. So it says, "Demonstrations in solidarity with a self-described freedom corner." Okay. So it says, "Authorities in Vancouver reported late Saturday that rocks and eggs were being thrown, cars kicked, and nails being strewn on roadways as several hundred vehicles rode through the city en route to the downtown core. 5 arrests were made." So yeah, it's like people are wilding. They're fucking sick and tired of those guys. You know what? There's a video down here. Matt. My phone was having a fit. This thing has been...
Canadian cities faced disruptions on Saturday as protest against vaccine mandates spread from the capital of Ottawa to Quebec City to Toronto. The so-called Freedom Convoy began as a movement against a vaccine requirement for cross-border truckers, but has turned into a protest against public health measures and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government. Demonstrators have shut down downtown Ottawa for the past 8 days, with some participants waving Confederate or Nazi flags and some saying they wanted to dissolve Canada's government. While there are many peaceful protesters, some residents have
Man said, bro, what the fuck is someone even gonna have a Confederate flag in Canada for anyway? But you know, I remember they said there. I read something. I can't remember where I read it, or maybe it was watching like Tim Pool or something, and they mentioned like there was they said there was someone with a Confederate flag there, but then that guy got fucking. They took the flag off him. They ripped up whatever, and they told him to fuck off. Is apparently what happened. So I'm like, these guys are basically just frying everything in the kitchen sink to basically demonize these guys, and that's really what the main thing is demonizing any resistance against these where they're going with it, where and then hey, getting everyone to eat it.
of near incessant honking, smashed windows, and being harassed for wearing masks. Counter-protesters in Ottawa came out to express their annoyance Saturday with signs reading, "Go home, please," and "Occupiers, go home." Ottawa police on Friday warned of a crackdown on what they called an increasingly dangerous protest and dedicated 150 officers to patrolling and addressing unlawful and threatening conduct in the most impacted neighborhoods. On Saturday, the trucks were out in force in Quebec City. One trucker said he wants to go back to the way life used to be.
We want our province back, our country.
Niggas are speaking French. Fucking hell. That's enough of that then. Fucking hell. Man was just speaking fucking French. What was I gonna get first? So it was Revelation 13 and 15, it says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." And that's one of the things that's in the forefront to the Charagma is those that basically aren't complying with the image of the beast, man. They're not getting down with the mindset, the way, the operations of how Babylon moves, man, how America moves. They're not getting down with it, and hey, then it's gonna be a matter of life or death, man. It's gonna be like, hey, you're gonna have to get down, you're gonna have to get jiggy with it, or you're done. And that's where they're essentially just like lump it, and they've done it since. It's funny, since like the start of the pandemic. They're basically, and well, even from going back to like 2005 and 6, like politically, people have just been pushed further and further to the left or further to the right, to where there's no like, if two guys have different political alignments, they ain't even gonna be able to talk to each other, man. These guys ain't even gonna be able to be in the same air, breathe in the same air, without wanting to uppercut and fucking choke slam each other. And that's basically made it so every issue, they then can just make it where it's like one side of the media is going to be saying, hey, you guys should be getting upset about this, then the other going to be saying like, hey, you should get upset about this, and then it basically makes it so there's that schism, and then it's easier to manipulate the people, man, to get their minds basically into the mindset where it's like, look, you need to comply because of this. Then there's people saying like, oh no, we shouldn't comply. Then you can demonize them further, and basically make it where you can justify force being brought against them. And that's the thing, is that force being brought against them, that's going to be aimed at the brothers, and that's really what Esau's looking for, man. He's really looking to bring his hatred to bear against Jake, so it can be justified to be like, okay, look, we're just gonna get rid of these guys. So it says Matthew 24 and 9, it says, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake." Yeah, Going to be hated of all men for the sake of Yahweh's name. Because we're keeping the truth, keeping his word. And we're basically not getting down with Esau's system. And that's the main part. Because that's the issue. It's like, compliance. Because there's small amounts, like 10-15% that aren't really complying. And Esau's basically making it where it's like, okay, let me find an angle where I can sell it to them, or just bring force to bear. And that's the thing is, if force is brought to bear, if it hits a crisis point where it's going to hit that crisis point where people are going to be running for that charagma, man, then it's going to be like, yo, if you're not complying, you're looking like you're even sticking out like even more of a sore thumb. And then they're just going to be like, everyone's going to like, look, you guys are the ones making trouble. Just comply. And then many, so it says, and they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Yeah. Everyone's going to be out for everyone else. Everyone's going to be like, look, this is your fault. And that's what's been this whole situation. Basically, one side blaming the other. But then what? It's going to all be directed at the brothers, man. It's going to get to what? 2nd Ezra 16 and 70. And it says, for there shall be in every place, and in the next cities, a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Yeah. And it's going to come down to it's going to be like, look, that's why it's like in was it the Navy? I believe the Navy. Maybe it was the Marines. I can't remember, one branch of the military. They basically said they had almost, like, for a good few months, they had given basically 0 religious exemptions for the for the max, which is just hilarious. It's like, why have the system there? But it's because why the scriptures as well is going to be that focal point that people are going to point. You mention certain things, then it's just going to be like, no, look, you're a rebel element. And like I said, they're going to be like madmen sparing none. For they shall waste and take away their goods, and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Yeah, it's going to be tried as a gold in the fire. That's going to be where the intensity comes. That's going to be that time of tribulation, man. That time of trouble. It says what? For they shall waste and take away their houses, and take away their goods, and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. Straight. So that's where it's basically going to come down to faith, and that's going to be made clear on the earth, because they're going to be those men are the elect. They're basically going to be put through the grinder, and then they're going to continue and resist, man. Lord willing, be one of those men. That's what we hope for, and what we're striving for. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.